You have to come away from bad relationships wiser, but not more bitter. You
Mm.
go in there like, right, okay, I need to manage that better. What did I do wrong in that last relationship? Where did I fuck up so that I don't make that same mistake?
You know, one thing I think people should understand is like sort of differentiate is, you know, the concept of now, like say prior to say 2016, when there's Manosphere red pill content, and obviously, you know, I'm involved in some of that role as one of my best friends, but this concept like before, if you can talk about like say from 2006 to before that point, it's like 2015, there's no political part of this. There's no discussion of morality and there's no discussion of like body count. I remember reading those forums 20 years ago and nobody ever cared about this. Like back then it was like what you just said. It was simply, here's what you do to pick up the girl. And there was no other discussion besides that.
I think first of all, it's used as a distraction. So it's kind of like become now an excuse to not hit on that woman. You know, her body counts this or she's that. Don't go for this kind of girl. And it's just kind of putting you're sort of self-restricting who you can speak to. But I'm going to speak candidly here. I think a lot of the people in that manosphere, red pill, I'm not really involved in it. You know, I look at it from the sides. I observe it from the sides. I see a lot of bitterness.
For sure.
But bitterness is dangerous. So if you take nerves or lack of self-confidence, you can hide that shit. I teach my students how to do that. You can hide it. You can camouflage it. It's hard, but you can camouflage it if you know how. And then you've got neediness. That's one of the hardest ones to camouflage. But it is doable. It's doable with a great deal of discipline. Bitterness, you cannot hide because it's entrenched. It's entrenched and it's chronic. And it comes out in passive aggressive. So when you're talking to a guy, now men don't notice it. This is what's very interesting. Men don't notice when these guys are talking that there's a passive aggression.
Mm.
But women pick up on passive aggression like this, and it's a big red flag. Nerves, things like that are not attractive to women, but passive aggression is very unsettling to a woman.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of, there's a guy, I'm sorry, you're probably friends with him. I'm not going to call him out. He's just a guy in the Red Pill movement. He's a middle-aged guy. And you can almost touch the bitterness on him. You can, and he's going out there saying, you know, you shouldn't marry this kind of woman. Don't go with a single mom. Fine, that's his message. But it's not coming from a happy place. And women, and this is something very important. I say to my students who come with me with the frustration and bitterness, and I get it. I get why they've had years and years of rejection, or they've experienced heartbreak. They have my sympathy, but me being sympathetic to them is not going to get them results. What they need to do again is remove themselves from the situation, remove themselves emotionally from the situation. And they have to do the inner work. It's the only time I say you've got to do that inner work if you're bitter. Confidence, stuff like that, we can fix it, fine. You just got to go out there, get the results, get that positive feedback loop. But with bitterness, as I said, it's chronic.
Yeah.
And you have to do the inner work. You have to start liking yourself again. You have to start understanding that you can't take this baggage with you to the next girl. She can smell it on you. She can smell it.
Yeah.
Okay, that baggage, that hostility. And so the best way to describe it when you're talking to somebody who has it is it's not for the body language, funny enough. It's through the eye contact and the verbal delivery. So they'll be looking at you very intensely. So when guys are bitter or they don't like women and they chat you up, they're looking at you very intensely. There's no breaking eye contact like someone who's nervous. They're looking at you very, very intensely. And their verbal delivery is it's almost like you're being told off. Okay, it's kind of delivered in a confident way, but it almost feels like the woman's being told off and she doesn't know, you know, why am I being told off? Something's off about this guy's vibe. So what happens is then the guy walks away from that interaction. He's like, you know what? I was giving her my full eye contact. That was on point. That's not the problem. And my, vocal delivery was quite masculine. So that's not the problem. So it must be her fucking problem. She's a bitch. And that's how it all starts. It starts going into that, it's that circle. It's that circle.
Yeah.
And I see that in the red pill movement. I feel that they're using their platforms to purge their pain to purge it and to, sort of connect with other people's pain. It's very clever. I mean, it's a clever thing to do, isn't it? I feel the pain. I've been through it too, and they are the enemy, and we're the good people, and everything's black and white, and everyone go to sleep and be happy. I'm very much about, what do you do? What's next? How do I fix this? I'm very proactive like that. So
Yeah.
I've had some horrible relationships, horrible. But every single new relationship I get into, my expectations are completely, I don't have any expectations they're going to be like the last one. You have to come away from bad relationships wiser, but not more bitter. You go in there like, right, okay, I need to manage that better. What did I do wrong in that last relationship? Where did I fuck up so that I don't make that same mistake? Again, reptilian, rather than, all women are fucking bitches, and that woman broke my heart, and this next bitch is going to break my heart.
Yeah.
She's going to spill that on you within seconds.
Yeah, it's so great that you bring that up, that it is really great point about the bitterness. So Rollo and I, like I said, we host a show. There'll be like 10 girls on here. And the first couple of weeks we had girls on, and they would have like large social media followings. And then we'd read the comments, and it would be like, this girl's a hoe, this girl's a hoe. No good man would ever date her. And I'm like, no, her boyfriend's worth $400 million. Like, I'm pretty sure you're wrong about this. And I was like, it's really interesting. And Rollo was the first time he'd ever seen it. He was like, because he kind of knew that this was the case, but until we started hosting the show. So I was like, as an experiment, I went and got a girl who's like 21, had slept with one dude in her whole life and was like very pretty. Another girl, I've had 2 Miss Nevadas on the show before, and I just wanted to see what their reaction was. And it's the same thing. These girls are hoes. They're low status. These are going to be terrible mothers. And I was like, dude, I don't remember in 2006 anyone ever saying this shit. Like, I don't remember. The criticism used to be, she's not hot enough. I can maybe see that. The criticism is now, she's not good enough for me. And I'm like, bro, you are commenting on a YouTube video at 11 p.m. at night. Bro, what are you doing? Your username is like Mr. Big Stuff 46382, and you don't have a fucking avatar, and you're telling me that this girl isn't good enough for you. And it's just like, this is the level of cope is just outrageous whenever I see this kind of stuff. And so it got to the point where, like, again, what you'll find is that a lot of red pill content creators totally agree with you. The men that are bitter in the space, they don't help it. I love David Duchovny and was the show Californication. He's a line in there. He's like, I fall in love with every woman I meet. That's how I feel. Like, my whole life, I've had nothing but really, really positive interactions with women. So I love being around women, and I think that's very helpful to me. One of the things that I'll have often is I'll have a client who'll come on, and I'll try to describe this concept to him. I'll say, if you had an opportunity to sit in a hot tub with 12 beautiful women, and you weren't going to sleep with them for whatever reason, they had to go to work, whatever, would you enjoy just listening to them talk shit, talk about their exes, all this kind of stuff? Would you find that to be a positive interaction, or would you rather just masturbate and play video games? And like, I was like, for me, I'd rather just be in the hot tub. I think it's fun. I love listening to these women. And because of that, I have a much easier time talking to women. And a lot of my clients were like, no, I like having sex with women, but I don't like women. And I felt like that was the delineation between the guys who I saw were really good and the guys who weren't.
Have you ever been bad with women?
Yeah, probably in my early 20s, I was pretty bad. I think the thing that kind of made it, yeah, definitely. I would say I tried way too much in college. I think the thing that did it for me, my come to Jesus moment, was when I started managing a strip club, and I just started seeing these girls who, at the time, remember this is 1999, the most beautiful women I'd seen in my life at that point, and I consistently watched them say one thing and do another, like tolerate domestic abuse, all kinds of crazy stuff. And then, like, all of a sudden, the one that I didn't pay any attention to became outrageously attracted to me. One girl, she would come, like the prettiest girl in the whole strip club, she would come up to me and she would say something to the effect of, hey, I fucking hate I was a DJ at the time. I fucking hate the other DJ. This guy's an asshole, blah, 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 whatever. And then she comes to me a couple weeks later. She goes, yeah, I left my husband. I was like, oh, that's crazy. And I'm thinking I'm going to ask her out. And she goes, yeah, I moved in with the other DJ. And I'm like, wait a sec, what? It was like, there was these moments where I was like, something is broken. Something Disney, the church, and my mom is telling me isn't real, but I didn't need to have bitterness towards it. And it wasn't honestly until I got into evolutionary psychology and I started realizing women have the necessity to be pickier than men because women have more parental investment than men do, and men are more interested in casual sex because it allows them a higher probability of passing on their genetics. Once you understood that this is like hominid evolution, then it's like the hate goes away. You just understand this is what natural selection, these were survival proclivities that we had that aided us in survival, because there used to be 10, 20, 30,000 humans on the planet, and one misstep you would wipe out the species. There's been 15 other species of hominids on this planet, and all of them are dead. Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo neanderthalis. There was this one species, Homo sapiens, that figured out how to work together in groups and figured out how to like protect themselves from other predators. And in doing so, those added traits caused them to survive and have, now there's 8 billion of us on the planet, and the rest of them are extinct. And so whenever these proclivities are, they must have aided in our survival at some point. How can you hate that?
But you know what? I'm glad you didn't get bitter about that. But you see how, like, some guys, they can get bitter from
For
that
sure.
experience.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's a downward spiral. It feeds because what happens is they start talking to women and they want it. They sort of almost like, yeah, you know what? She's going to reject me. I know this bitch is going to reject me. That is the sub communication that's going on. But women are really good at picking that up. So all my female friends that watch kind of like red pill content, they're just like, these guys are losers. You know, they'll literally say, not because they're losers in terms of how they look or how they dress, just like they obviously are in terrible pain. They're like wounded animals. They need fucking help. Men who, see, this is one thing, okay, this is going to be a bit controversial, but why do you think so many women go for these woke kind of guys? You know, that wokey kind of liberal guy,
yes.
And he's got that kind of artistic look. Because he fucking loves women. He's not bitter. He might have other flaws, but he's not bitter. He loves women. He does like women. And that is going to always be more attractive than some angry man who's just angry with life and angry with women. I'm using two extremes here, but that extreme, the other extreme, that wokey kind of liberal arty guy, he's still going to get laid. There's more chance of him getting laid. That needs to register in these guys' head who are listening to these guys.
For sure.